Good evening, viewers. I'll give you a minute. Apparently we've got a good stream going on. As far as I know, I've got my microphone turned on. And I thought that rather than just rushing and cracking straight in, it takes a few of the gang a little while to go, oh yeah, we start the plaster in it tonight. Yeah, my phone's just bleaked a bit. Hang on, let's just have a quick visit to the loo and make a cup of tea. But you could be doing that now. Jamie, we're relying on you, mate. Look at that. Jamie O'Sullivan plastering. First geezer here. He always makes sure he's got plenty of time to either get home from work or have an half day so he don't miss Ask the Plasterer. What more can I ask for? Richard, good evening, mate. I thought I'd just start off right from where we are here and give people a chance to kind of like gather the gang to accumulate Avengers, whatever it's called. What is it? Avengers what? Avengers, it's not Avengers gather together, is it? What is it? Avengers Assemble, that's it. Plasterers Assemble. Yeah, so I thought, yeah, give everybody a minute. Look, I've got me, sorry, it's back to front, but I've got my new Trail Talk t-shirt. Now I thought it was going to be like a cotton one, but it's like that wicking stuff, that like the old running t-shirts, which are good because if you're getting hot and sweaty, these don't like get all wet and sweaty or whatever. They dry out really nice and quick. So when it gets hotter again near the end of this week, we might be able to wear it. Mark, evening, mate. Dear. Did you see that just then, mate? Sorry, I got me old t-shirt. I did put it up on the forum, so people should have seen it. I've suggested, obviously, that I'm Mr. January on the Trail Talk calendar next year if it comes off as a thing. I hope everyone had a lovely day at work and it wasn't too warm. Excuse me. And yeah, you've got home now and maybe you've had some dinner tonight. For a change, I've actually had my dinner before Ask the Plasterer. It's rare, doesn't often happen, but this week I was home anyway. I was off today. Mrs was working, so I thought, you know what, I better cook some dinner. I might be in trouble after being at home all day, and then when the missus gets in, just disappearing for at least a couple of hours to do Ask the Plasterer. So I'm in the good books. Thanks, Mark. Dear. Yeah, right. I'm never quite sure on this thing to tell how many people are watching. You know, it does say it on my screen here somewhere, but it eludes me a bit, like when I'm looking for the off button at the end of the show, and I can never find it, even though I have to turn it off every week, every fortnight. Johnny, hello mate, nice to see you. I'm very well, brother. I'm very well. Still a little bit warm, but that's only because I'm in here and there was lights on and it's hot. But much nicer now for plastering and getting a decent night's sleep without waking up sweating like a plasterer. Yeah, I think it's probably the new term. Yeah. Give me have a little twiddle. If you are new here, I'm Eric the Plasterer, and this is
Ask the Plasterer.
And I'm here to answer any of your plastering related questions. There's me and there's the gang of regulars that comes along once a fortnight from 7 o'clock, and we chat about anything plastering related. If you've got any questions, then this is the place to come. In a short while there'll be a phone number on the screen, so you'll be able to ring in and speak to me, which will be good. Or you'll be able to type up, and your because it's a live stream, you'll type and come up on the side if you're on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, I'm not sure what you do where, because I don't normally go on live streams on Facebook, but we should be streaming to Facebook as we speak. Oh, that's it, right, okay. There's 9 of us on YouTube at the minute, and 1 or 2 on Facebook, which is normally Mark Shepherd and someone else. Is it Colby? Sometimes I think he watches from Facebook as opposed to YouTube. Anyway, I digress. Let's put my words back on because I can't see what anybody's saying. Aha. Right, Richard, what jobs are you on this week, Eric? I am very quiet at the minute, mate. I'm having one of those glitches that I sometimes get. That don't worry about it, El. The phone goes a bit quiet, and my last 3 quotes that all went out at the same time, none of them came back to me. So I'm either thinking, I've either gone in too high, which I don't think I have, or people are going, or those particular customers last week, or potential customers, have gone, well, you know what with the cost of living going up and the energy bills when the winter kicks back in, you know, perhaps we should wait a little bit and then maybe see about having some plastering done. And also for me on my domestics, when the schools break up, it normally goes a bit quiet because everybody's either going on holiday or too busy with their kids at home to want to get any plasterers in at the same time. But which is one of the downsides of domestic jobs if the customer's living in it. But hey, Johnny, hi Eric, I've got a very large scene as a plaster this week. Do you think it's worth using the extra time? I'll tell you what, Johnny, if I'm doing what I call a big ceiling, which would be like, say, a 2-bag mix, which is the biggest mix I'd mix up anyway. In the past, I wouldn't have bothered, but since discovering that you can slow it down for a bit of extra time for about an hour, it's so much more comfortable to do a big ceiling, mate. I can do a nice 2-bag ceiling, which is a fair size. I'm not quite sure how big your one is. And get that done fairly comfortable, you know. Yeah, today I get the first coat on, give it a little going over with me plastic speed skim, and pick up a teeny bit, and then at that point, if I need to, which I might, I'll put a little bit more water in the gear I've got left for my second coat. Just lift that up, put the second coat on. Again, I'm not having to rush it, whereas normally I'd be going at quite a pace to make sure I don't have any issues, especially when it's warm. It can go off a lot faster, right? So the short answer, mate, is put some extra time in your gear for that. I mean, you ain't got to wait all day for it. The only time you've got to be careful with extra time is when I use it in bonding, because man, I'm doing a video on it. It makes it so creamy in a lovely, good way. It makes the texture of it a little bit more like cardboard, but without the horrible smell. And you don't get lumpy when it's getting near the end. And I've noticed that no matter how well you mix up bonding, if it's starting to go near the end, especially if you're doing it in the big bucket as opposed to putting that out on the spot board, that last little bit, you're starting to get little lumps in it. I think that's just the way it is with that. But with the extra time in, it stays creamy right until I've scraped the last bit out of the bucket. That's when I'm doing, say, about 1 bag in a big bucket. And but if you put a little bit too much of that in your bonding, you might still be a little bit wet the next day. So be really careful not to overdo it. But yeah, mate, for your ceiling for a skim, if it's going to be like a 2-bag job, or you're feeling a bit lazy, as I am most days now, stick some extra time in it. Right, shall we move on from here? Shall we go into the pub garden? Yeah, why not? Hang on, let's just see. We've got here a minute now. Oh, right, okay, right. With me, all right, people, we are going into the Alcantara pub garden. Oh, that's better. A bit more breezy out here, I have to say, which is nice. Pizza's on the go. Not that I want one now, because like I said, I've just had my dinner, and normally at this time of the evening I haven't had it because I have it after. You know, I have something to look forward to. I'll have my dinner after I ask the plasterer, and normally I wash as well. God knows what else. But no, I was showered earlier today. I've had my dinner. Oh, well, I'm gonna have to have a snack after this. But that's not yet. That's in the future. That's in the future. Right. Yeah. For anyone that missed out earlier, I got me Trout Talk t-shirt through the post. I'm hoping to be Mr. January in the Trout Talk spread calendar next year. But I think to be in that, you do have to sport one of the Trowel Talk merchandise tops. It doesn't necessarily have to be the t-shirt. It could be just a hat with the with this on it. And obviously you'd have to put some blurry out bits on the unmentionables. But who knows? I think that there'll be some discussions with Stuart about whether it's to do a calendar or whether it could be a funny one, or not particularly funny anyway, or a bit more serious. It'd be similar to a fireman's calendar, except the plasterers obviously make better lovers, according to the old tradesman thing, and obviously stronger and better looking than firefighters. So yeah. Dear, if you've just joined us and you're thinking, who's that bloke with the glasses on wafting in a garden somewhere? I'm Eric the Plasterer, and this is Ask the Plasterer. And I'm here to answer any of your plastering related questions. We can talk about tools, we can talk about your day at work, we can talk about different plaster, we can talk about the heat last week when only silly people, and it turns out I know a lot of silly people, worked on Monday and Tuesday when it was like the Sahara Desert outside. And for some reason I put up a lot of pictures of work that was either just falling off the wall or just cracking up, because let's face it, our plaster's just not made to take that kind of heat. So hey, there you go. Sorry, how many packs of extra time for a 2-bag mix? I stick one for each bag, mate. So if I'm doing a 2-bag mix, I'll put a couple of bags of extra time in there, and you're sorted. Yeah, you could put one in, but I've no idea how long that will take then to go off. So it will obviously still be a little bit slower, but it might not be as slow as the old two packet one. But I find if I'm doing a 2-bag mix in the ceiling and I'm on my own, you're knocking up your own stuff, you're laying it all on yourself, you're doing the whole job, then 2 packs of that, you can still get at least another set on that day. I wouldn't suggest possibly using it in any other sets during the same day. When you drop back onto walls, I'll either go then without extra time, or and on the sides of the walls I might whack in half time and try and get a couple of those up. And anyway, it's kind of swings and roundabouts, but it's whatever mood you're in. And obviously ceilings are a little bit more of a, you get used to them, don't you, over the years, but they're a bit more taxing than doing a wall, on account of the fact, even if you are used to being on stilts, it's the fact you've got to get them on and you're up in the air doing it all, whereas when it's a wall and you've just got that little bit, especially if it's a height you can reach without a hop up, or you work tall boots, fantastic, anyway, sorry guys, I'm waffling. Damien, hello mate, what's your favourite trowel to use though? My go-to laying on and do practically everything with is the old Marshalltown. The one I've been using for the last few years is a stainless steel pre-worn one. There's a name for that, but I can't remember it off the top of my head because I'm old. And I use speed skims basically to take the strain off my elbows and joints and stuff, all the troweling that you would normally do if you're just using your trowel. That was the way I did do it for donkey's years. And then I'll finish off with my Ox Ultraflex trowel, but again only when you kind of the finishing passes really on that, because most guys know if you do it too soon then you risk it going a little bit funny, possibly getting a bit wavy. You don't want anything that gives too much if your plaster's still a bit soft. But yeah, so that's my favourite one, mate. And it's literally, I have a couple of trowels and they're good for me until, well, unless I want to treat myself and I think, well, I'm going to try something a bit different, see how it turns out, or something that's been recommended by some of the other guys, going, oh, this is lovely using this trowel, and get one of them. But other than that, I don't tend to buy anything new until the old one's broke. I get such a big dink in it that you can't use it anymore, and I ain't got time to be trying to grind it down and keep it half decent. So I think, stop there, El, just go and buy a new one. But for my laying on trowel, I think I'm just so used to Marshalltown that I always just replace it with another Marshalltown. Don't know if I might go a bit bigger than me 16, I think it is, I use. It's been that long, I've never kind of I can't remember how long my trowel is. Damien, the Ox Ultraflex get a bit of stick, but I like them. Yeah, no, some people love them, mate. It's, again, they're good, like, just for literally finishing off. I wouldn't lay on with one. I was watching some spreads channel. He's not a spread, but he just happened to be spreading in this video, and he was literally like I think he was putting it on with something like a Marshalltown, and then he was going straight onto that with a flexi trowel. I mean, on the video, after however long it went on for, I just had to watch it. It was quite, yeah, fascinating. It looked kind of alright in the video, but I don't think, yeah, and he did say he wasn't a plasterer, but he didn't have to say that to anyone that was a plasterer watching. Yeah. But he can't, I think he does all that other DIY stuff as well. And he's only on about 66 subscribers at the minute, so it'd probably be quite hard to find, and I can't remember what his name was. And I didn't subscribe, funny enough. Evening, Silver. Nice to see you, brother. Ah, dear. Yeah, this Monday came around real quick for me. I was kind of the last one, because it was quite hot, but it was before, because it was long enough ago. Although it was warm, it was before that Monday and Tuesday, wasn't it? It was. It must have been the week before, because it wasn't. There's no way I was. I'm pretty sure there was no way I was sitting in there on that Monday night. Oh, no, my memory's just shot to pieces when it comes to like remembering if something was a week ago or 2 weeks ago. I just can't get it. Just can't get it. But yeah, that was the same. Oh yeah, and yeah, but this week's Ask the Plaster flew around really quick to the point that I went, oh, sugar. It's not tonight. I didn't remember. It was like yesterday or the day before. But well, I miss Ask the Plaster this Monday. I haven't organised no guests for this week. Last one was just me waffling on with me friends, alright friends. But hey, there's two options. There was to say, look, El, just tell everybody you're not going to bother tonight. I said, no, I can't do that, because a lot of people still tune in to watch it regardless. So I can't let the gang down. Hello, Tara. Nice to see you. Yeah, I'm well. You haven't missed much, dear, so far. Just me waffling as usual. And for your benefit, Tara, if you've just got here, I got me Trout Talk t-shirt, and I volunteered to be Mr. January on the Trout Talk calendar that may or may not be coming out next year. Have a chat with Stu, see what he's thinking. Yeah, no, I was going to say something really interesting, which would make a change, but now I can't remember what it was. It'll come back to me in a minute. Are you busy, Eric? Have you got much work on and any holidays planned? But I only I've been a bit quiet of late, and holiday-wise, I never kind of plan a holiday. Sometimes we go down a caravan thing, and I used to go abroad a lot with my mum and dad when I was little, about 26. And we've got abroad a few times with my daughters when they were older. But I'm just a bit lazy when it comes to holidays. I mean, I like an holiday, don't get me wrong. I like to go away somewhere, but I'm not mad keen on flying, and I don't mind it. I used to love it as a kid. Just get more scared in my old age. And just the hassle you get at airports before any of the use or the COVID kicked off, or the hassle that everyone's getting now. And I think my passport only just expired about 2 or 3 months ago. I'm thinking, oh, I must apply for a new one. And of course, other people that have booked holidays to go abroad, whose passports have run out, they're struggling to get them back in time to go away. So yes, I've got no holidays planned at the moment. I'm going to wait when everything kind of dies down, and it's if it ever is easier to get off on holiday somewhere, especially abroad, then I'll do it then. But while there's loads of hassle anyway, I can't be bothered with, then no, I'll stick to staying here or going down to Chichester or something like that. Do a bit of sailing. Well, I haven't done any sailing for ages. And when I say sailing, I don't mean yachts. I'm talking about the those little ones that they use on the Olympic Games, like 1 or 2 man. I think they're just 1 man ones in the Olympics. But me and a mate of mine used to have one and you literally fly along in them, and they lean right over, and you hang out the other side, and wow, it's loads of fun. It's like, well, as long as it's windy. Otherwise, it's just like that. I do nothing. But yeah. Oh yeah, you got to get one, Ty. Got to get one. Right. Are you? No. So yeah, no holidays planned, and not that busy at the minute, mate. But I'm hoping that'll change. I'm in one of those funny spots where it's got a bit quiet, and my last couple of quotes didn't come back to me at all, and I've no idea why that was. My prices are creeping up too high. Mind you, one of them was a bit of a walk. One of those jobs where you can't park near the house. It's like they live in one of those kind of horseshoes, and the horseshoe is pedestrian only, and they're kind of in the middle of that horseshoe, and you can park out there somewhere. And I think, oh, wow, they disappeared then. Like a ghost. Yeah, and you can do that, but you've got to allow a bit more time for that. Parking outside somewhere, it says you can get parking permits, or you could get parking permits, and then you've got to lug everything out the van, cross round the horseshoe, and then into the house, and then upstairs, because inevitably I think it was a bedroom, which is up in the air. So I'll probably allow them a little bit more for that. But yeah, he might have had some guy come in there with a next to nothing silly price, but I'll only ever find that out if he rings me back and says, "Oh, can you come and sort this out for me?" Or yeah. But anyway, I'll digress. I'm waffling. I'm not looking at your questions. Yeah, did you do, Martin? Just heard that Alex Morley's mate Louis is having treatment. Please wish him all the best. Oh, I didn't hear that. I didn't know that, mate. I'm meant to be meeting up with Alex and hopefully Louis. He's coming down London way for a job on another school. I think they're doing, and we're going to meet up, and it's going to be a couple of weeks' time. That was a few days ago now, so what we're probably going to do, if it all goes to plan, hopefully Louis will be okay and can meet up with us as well there, is go to I call it a proper pub. I mean, this is obviously a proper pub, but and do a live stream via the phones from the pub in the flesh with Alex and Louis. So I've noticed a lot of the texts and things that Alex puts up. I think it's the spell checker changes Louis' name to Luke for some reason, unless someone else works with him called Luke as well, but I doubt that somehow. But yeah, so hopefully we're going to be meeting up and in a boozer within the next couple of weeks. Might not necessarily be a Monday night, but you'll soon find out when the phone pings, and there'll be my dulcet tones, and hopefully Alex and Louis will be with me in a bar in a pub somewhere. So that should be a good crack. And I said there's nothing stopping Alex putting his phone on and doing a live stream to his channel as well. So, you know, the more the merrier on that night. There we get on. Sorry, PH Martin. Richard, Eric, using the Marshalltown the whole way through at the moment. Got a nick in the flex. Oh, fair enough. I've noticed a couple of times recently where I was doing a bit of wet troweling. It might have been a little bit too soon with me Ultraflex, and kind of result I was getting, I swapped back to the Marshalltown for the troweling up, and just for that bit more rigidity. Just when something's worked for years, you know, if you're concerned that something's not quite going right because you're using a flexible trowel, then yeah, absolutely, that's what I would do, mate. I'll just stick with the Marshalltown all the way through, until you get yourself something else. If you get another flexible trowel, mate. I think if my one got knackered, I would definitely get another flexi of some description. I might try one of the old plastic trowels, because they seem to be quite popular. I know they wear down a lot quicker, but you get more of a matte kind of finish, which I discovered when I used the Carter 101. That is about that being a plastic flow. But yeah, someone said something about the heat earlier. Yeah. Oh right, that was MP. Yeah, okay, cool. Shall we? What's it? Is it getting a bit dark out yet? Shall we? Into the pub? Come on in. Ah, here we go. The lovely array of just a few of the women plasterers that I'm pleased to support on this channel. Great girls, a couple more still waiting to get their picks up, hopefully. Hoping girls, you know you are, that everything's okay where you are at the minute. And I was going through some pictures. Mark Neeson, Mark, if you're listening, mate, if you're still there, I was going through some pictures on the old forum, the I can't remember what my own forum's called. The Discord forum, that's the one. Ask the Plasterer Discord forum. I was on looking through the pictures on there, and there's that lovely one, Mark, of you in one of these fantastic t-shirts, and I couldn't believe how good looking it made you look, mate, and it was fantastic. And I was going to cut you out of the picture, and I was going to give you a little space here with the girls as an honorary member, probably just for one week. But so I quickly went into my Photoshop app to do that said thing, and one of my email addresses has changed that I use to access it, and it's kicked me out. So all the software I normally use for doing stuff, including messing about with pictures and videos, for the next couple of days I'm not going to be able to get into it until I sort it out. So and that's the only reason why the lovely Mark Neeson isn't with these beautiful ladies this evening as an honorary member of the women plasterers. Anyway. Right, guys, are you all keeping like busy and stuff and whatever? Yeah, a bit more. Type up a few more questions. I'm not, you know, I don't mind doing all the talking, but ad-libbing all evening. Well, all evening for an hour and a half. Take some doing. Ah, that's lovely. Yeah, for anyone that has just joined us, I am Eric the Plasterer, and this is Ask the Plasterer, and I'm here to answer any plastering related questions about tools, about plastering work, about jobs, about anything a customer might want to know, price of things, priceless plasterers, stuff like that. This is where you can get answers to that, and you can get them here and you can get them now live as I speak, unless you're watching the recording, in which case you can't, unless you are a member of the Ask the Plasterer Discord forum, of which you can easily become a member by clicking on a link in one of my videos that will say Discord forum, and it will send you an invite and you can join me and the regulars for a chat anytime you like, basically, rather than waiting for Ask the Plasterer to come around. And that is open more or less to anybody. You don't have to be a plasterer to be in the forum. You can just be like a potential customer, or someone that likes being nosy about what plasterers talk about. Oh, I don't think I charge by the hour, mate, at all. I could probably work out roughly what I would charge for a job and then split it into hours. But yeah, I don't even think about what an hourly rate is. I basically work out what I want for a specific job. I don't generally charge a specific day rate unless I agree a day rate with a customer, because the job that they want me to price is too complicated or for me anyway, to do a price on. And I'll organise a day work price with them that we're both happy with. Also, when I do that with a customer, I will give them the option. I'll say, look, we've agreed that rate, I'm happy with it, you're happy with it, you know, we'll do a day, and if at the end of that day, if we're both still happy, then Bob's your uncle, we're laughing. If one of us isn't, or more likely if the customer isn't, says, oh, can't you do more than that in a day? Then you'd have to rethink it. But yeah, I never kind of do anything by the hour, price wise. I was thinking of trying to start off as a plasterer, so I wanted to learn what sort of money I could make. Starting off as a spread, it's difficult because it depends on what you can actually do, what you can achieve in the time that it takes. I mean, you could, if you're just starting out and you were going to do a room for someone and you were confident to do a room, but your experience meant you did a wall a day, and you're not doing the ceiling, for example, you've got 4 walls to do, and it's going to take you 4 days, whereas a much more experienced spread will probably do it in a day or maybe 2. Actually, if it's just the walls, probably a day. And they can charge good money because they can get that room done in a day. If you're going to be doing a wall a day, for example, I'm not saying this is you, but if there's someone that's as fast as they could kind of go at the moment, then you couldn't be charging sort of like £200 a day, because that'd be like £200 per wall. It's a decent plaster. If it's an average small size room, probably charge 450 quid to skim the walls, but you would bash it out in a day and a half. So yeah, it's really relative to your experience and how fast you are, and making sure that you, whatever kind of plasterer you are, whether you're good or bad at it initially, that you always cover everything up in someone's house, especially the carpet from wall to wall, that you don't get any plaster or any kind of muck on it, because whatever you're charging, if you get tons of plaster or anything at all over someone's new carpet and they want paying for it, or you're trying to claim on your public liability insurance to get it, it's just not worth the hassle, and you won't be making any money. You'll probably be losing money because you've got to pay for some damage that you've caused. So first thing, mate, make sure you protect everything that could get plaster on it that doesn't want to have plaster on it, and then work out. You have to work out what's worthwhile as well, money wise. It's no good you saying, "Oh, I could work for £60 a day." I mean, if you're living at home and your mum and dad like paid all the bills and they didn't have any money off of you, then £60 a day probably, it's all right. But if you've got any kind of commitments, or you've got bills to pay and all the rest of it, which is more likely, then obviously that would be useless money. So it is really relative to your situation, to your experience. But your average okay at it plasterer will be charging between £250 upwards to £350, £400 a day on a roughly working out on a day basis. But that again, it depends on how much you're doing. Because if I put up, I could say I said I'd charge you 250 quid for a day's labour plus materials, or £300, and then I did a whole room including the ceiling, then that's too cheap to do a whole room including the ceiling. So even if I could do it in a day, and I did do it in a day, then I'd be charging them 450 quid upwards to do that room, regardless of how long it took me. The reason I could do it in a day is because of the experience I've got as a plasterer. But so anywhere from, again, depends a little bit where you are in the country, not quite as much as it used to compared to London prices, but 250 upwards you want to be looking at to spread plus your material. Oh, I hope that helps. It doesn't make you even more confused. Silver had a job offer to go on the cards in with a building firm, renovations, etc. And I asked him what the other lads are on. Brickies was on £13 an hour, joiner 15, plasterer. Oh, yeah, no worries, mate, no worries. Where was it? 15 for joiners. Plasterers was similar. Not a lot to live on at the end of the day. No, I've got to admit, when I did used to work for building companies, the money wasn't brilliant, but the fact that they kept you in regular work, and you could, the guys I was working for, you could take a proper lunch break. I mean, at like 12 o'clock or whatever, if you planned your sets right, at 12, 1 o'clock, you would go and have proper hours lunch, go to a cafe or go and sit in your car, but you would do nothing for an hour. And you chill out a bit. You think, well, I'm earning at that particular time, going back a bit, it was like £90 a day, and that was there's benefits of that. I was still technically self-employed, so there was no holiday pay or anything like that. But it's the fact that work was regular and you didn't have to find it, and that was taken care of. On the cards ones, yeah, you do get obviously benefits for being on the cards, but once you're in a job like that, you're kind of not stuck in it. But yeah, you'd probably have to, even if you didn't like it, you'd probably stick with it for a while, even if you didn't, because you think, oh, I've got to go back to being self-employed and the kind of things you have to do to organise that, which aren't a big deal, but in the scheme of things, yeah. Experience guys, yeah. Yeah, no, that's the thing, Silver, isn't it? You can, well, it's been a long time since I've been out in the field with like building companies and contractors and stuff, but it is a lot of there's a lot of they do a lot of them really do expect a pound of flesh out of you for what they're paying. Dear, you know, I've worked for some builders that, and they were so squeaky, it was untrue. But that's when I mostly worked for other builders as opposed to being like completely just on my own and doing domestics and the like. Yeah, rendering. Yeah, I don't really do a lot of that. Well, I more or less don't do it at all anymore. Tyrolean work I haven't done in donkey's years, and I wasn't even sure if it was still a thing, to be honest. But I think it possibly is. I've still got 2 Tyrolean guns if anyone needs one. One's plastic and one's metal. So I've not used them in a very long time. Oh, hello Judy. What are you doing here? Where's Danny? Is he not with you? Is he somewhere lurking in the shadows? Joel, hello mate. Get some rendering so we can come down and get it boxed off, mate. You talking to me or are you talking to Isle? Sorry mate, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that. Joel, how can a man as busy as you, going up and down the country, fixing their machines, have time to come and ask the plasterer this evening, mate? Are you having a lazy evening? At his mum's for his tea, Judy. Oh, God, dear. Oh dear. He could watch it from his mum's, but I suppose you'd think it was quite rude if he put his phone on and started watching this, talking to us with his mum there at the table. Well, hello, dear. Have you I hope you're not working too hard. I wonder if he says things like that to him. That's what my mum used to say. Oh, I hope you're taking it easy, Eric. You know, don't work too hard, dear, because you know, blah blah blah, whatever. Bless her. Joel, man, I'm just, I'll get worn out skimming things, mate. When I see you, like, even with using the machines, just humping the machines around, makes me feel tired. Watching you humping them around, so. Oh yeah, feet up now, mate. Relaxing. Fixed and spraying as best as ever. Nice one. Hope you're good, top man. Yeah, I'm very good, thanks, Joel. Yeah, I'm pleased it was worthwhile you taking that drive, mate, to get that sorted out. But then I say, what else could you do apart from what? Send it to them? God, like you say, God knows how long that would take. Get it sorted out and then get it back again. Sorry guys, I just noticed because I'm reading stuff off of this screen over here. I'm not looking at you. I'm not looking at it properly. I'm over there like that, giving it this. But yeah, sorry about that. Right, Danny's at his mum's. Oh, was it worth me doing Ask the Plasterer tonight? Danny, if you're watching this later on the recording, mate, how can you get your mum's on a Monday when it's the other Monday of Ask the Plasterer? Ah, dear. For anyone that hasn't seen, that's joined us recently, we don't mind for plugging all sorts of things. Trout Talk, yeah, the t-shirts. I got mine today, and I'm hoping to be Mr. January on the Trout Talk calendar next year. So we'll see how that all pans out, if it happens at all. I say it doesn't have to be in a t-shirt. You can just wear a hat. Probably I'm talking to the guys mostly on that one. Yeah. Yes, mate. Yeah, you know, like them, they do like firemen's calendars and things like that, and everyone kind of rushes out and buys them because there's all them big hunky firemen on there. Well, I think Stuart thought it might be a good idea to do the old hunky plasterer's calendar, plug-in Trout Talk. So, so I've signed you up already, mate. So that's me and you. You could probably be Mr. February if you didn't mind. I haven't been, again, mate, I've not been at the gym lately. My excuse this time, because I started going back for at least 2 weeks, I did 3 days a week, or 3 evenings in a week. I got a text from them saying the swimming pool and the sauna, which are 2 main things I like to use after I've done the gym, were being shut down because there was a chlorine shortage. And I think since then it's probably... the chlorine shortage has probably been sorted out and the pool is probably open again, and the sauna. But I haven't looked to check. That's just probably a deep down thing in my body going, yeah, you really want to go back to the gym? Of course I do. I do feel when I've been overeating and I've not been exercising properly, I do start to feel a bit rough, I have to say. Rougher than usual. Give up. What's that? Imagine me and Damo on a rendering machine half naked. Well, it hasn't got to be a serious calendar, mate, has it? If it sells, if people like it and it sells, that's all that matters. If it draws attention, who knows? It could go viral. It could be a viral calendar. Hot spreads. I mean, hot spreads could just mean like guys that are really hot, as in sweating hot, as opposed to hot. And that, yeah, I mean, that look cracking, mate. With your old rendering machines. Yeah. Well, we'll see, but keep it in mind. Keep it in mind, John. Keep it in mind, mate. It's like if I seriously bring it up with you again at another point, don't go, hey, what? I shall, yeah, I shall be having words with Stu about it and see what he might have planned. I reckon it could be a good laugh, could be a good crack. But watch the space, and we'll see what happens. I'll keep you posted. Russell, hello, Russ. Blimey, mate, nice to see you. What's that? I have to meet up one day and go for a drink. We will, Russell, my dear. Yeah. If there's one place you can get hold of me, Russ, it's on here every other Monday. I do this Ask the Plasterer, and that's what's an old school, mate, by the way. Yeah, I'm just chatting to like a lot of the regular guys that come on here, and people basically come on board to ask questions about plastering, about tools and be buying, all that kind of stuff. So it's cool. But yeah, we'll have to catch up for a drink, mate. Absolutely. I'm not in that pic. Hi Eric, me and Rich are going or doing a loft conversion, is that? Yep. Loft conversion Wednesday. Let's hope it stays and it's weather-wise nice and cool, hopefully. Yeah, James, it's meant to be heating up, but not until nearer next weekend. So, when are you saying? About the middle of next week, Wednesday. Hopefully, mate, you'll be alright, he said Eric, the expert weather forecaster, who's not even checked apart from seeing the weather forecast day after the news, which was it's definitely going to be getting hotter again near the weekend. But it's meant to be quite mild, at least tomorrow, and the day after that. If you want to make people, don't want to make them sick, Carl. I just want to make them laugh, mate. Yeah, but no, that weather was silly hot. I know a lot of the guys still do some spreading on the Monday and Tuesday when it was cooking, and the plaster was cracking up, something chronic, and another one, the plaster, I think the PVA or something, had delaminated from the wall, and all the set plaster, or practically set plaster on top of that, was just cracking and just coming away, just dropping off. Which by the time you've tidied that all up, you kind of wasted the day really, and when it's been that hot. Any of you that were on the Discord site, you would have seen the picture of me Monday, which was me in a paddly pool with a beer, and a picture of me Tuesday, which was me in a paddly pool with a beer. I did have a bit of a barbecue Monday as well, even if it was on my own. And that was much more sensible, I feel, than going out spreading when the temperature was pushing up for somewhere near the 100 in old money. Yeah. Have a drink. I'm on for two. Well, anyone else been up to anything exciting apart from me? Who hasn't? Don't know, I haven't seen anything from Melanie lately. Oh, I know she's had quite a lot of work done on her knee, hasn't she? I can't remember what the cause of that was initially, but that looked like kind of tough going. Having to have like ops on it and God knows what else, and the time that must take to heal up, bless her. But anyone that's just joined us and doesn't know who I am or what this is, this is Ask the Plasterer with me, Eric the Plasterer. I've been a plasterer in South London for the last 37 years. Soon I'll be saying 38 years. I'm here to answer any of your plastering related questions. So feel free to, either type something in or call this number. I'm pretty sure my phone's on. And you'll come live into the pub where you can have a bit of a chit chat. Silver, saw Facebook people were skimming in that weather. They were, mate. Yeah. It just amazes me. Just amazes me. But just the amount of people that just seem to work on a Saturday or a Sunday. I did when I was a hell of a lot younger, but I just can't be bothered. Can't be bothered. Yeah, didn't some of your... Did you do some stuff, Silver, that peeled off, or did you have the Monday and Tuesday off as well? I can't remember. I know someone put a post up of stuff cracking and dropping off the walls, which didn't look great. Oh, if I didn't finish my last sentence, you can call in. Did I say? No, I did say that, didn't I? Yeah. Talk to me. If you're watching on the telly box at home. Plenty of extra time in the mix. Yes, Mike, absolutely. I've no doubt that would help, but still, it's the sweat dripping off my face and then going in my eyes that's making them sting, which puts me off and gives me a bit of grief when I'm trying to plaster something in the heat, especially if it happens to be a ceiling, and then the sweat really kind of drips into your eyes from your eyelashes, and it's not good, mate. When it's that hot. I've worked through summers before where it's just hot and you are sweating, but those temperatures last Monday and Tuesday, and especially the Tuesday, are just absolutely ridiculous. And let's face it, a lot abroad they wouldn't. The time of day that we'd normally probably be spreading, they just don't. Siesta time. I think quite a few of the guys that did try doing some plastering those days were starting really early, sort of 5 or 6 in the morning. Which is probably the only way you could do it, but it still would have been really like humid and warm, even early first thing without the sun really kind of popping. How did you get into plastering it? Did you go to college or learn on site? Initially, Damien, I went to. I used to be a chef, and I was great at icing cakes, and I go from there. A mate of mine I met was at catering college. He had become a plasterer, and he asked me if I'd go labouring for him one day, and I'd never seen a plasterer work before, and I thought, yeah, why not? I'll come and mix your gear, whatever. And I watched it, and I was fascinated. For wow, I didn't realise it meant putting on like whole walls of stuff in one hit, and found it absolutely amazing. And that started me off getting an interest in it. So then I got a job on a site labouring while I applied to try and go to a college to do it. And while I was waiting for that to come about, because it's not something you could just jump into straight away, I did labouring for quite a while, but I was labouring because I was so keen to get onto plastering. Rather than doing something sensible like buy a bag of finish, I was working on a site up in Guildford, which isn't that near to where I am. It's not a million miles away, but it's quite a trek. And I think because it was a building site, I just went up there with some tools on a train. I was mostly labouring, and I was so keen to use some finish and put some on the wall with a trowel. I'd already bought. I've been at B&Q. I had my trowel. I was sorted in that respect, and I tried to carry this bag. There was a bag spare from the site. I thought, you know what? The guy said, "Why don't you take it home?" So, being an arsehole that I was, I thought, yeah, why not? You know, suddenly, and the bags were bigger then as well. It was, it was like 50 kilos. It was like half the weight they used to be now. And put it on my shoulder. It wasn't too bad, but we were going to the pub with one of the other guys, and he had a car, so put it from the site into his boot. We went to the pub, and then when we was finished at the pub, he didn't live nowhere near me, so I was getting the train back with my bag of plaster. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't accidental that when I got it out of his boot, it had a slit in it. And basically, I carried a bag of plaster where the plaster was coming out of the bag on my shoulder on a train from Guildford back to Sutton. Oh no, I lived in Wimbledon then with my mum and dad because I was going to plaster his garage, or try and plaster in one of the block halls in the garage. And we finished because that's, yeah, well, I didn't know any different, did I? Really. And yeah, and it turned out this finish was off as well. I nearly killed myself getting it home. Got a lot of plaster trail all the way back from Guildford on a train somewhere in the station, and finally at home. I don't know why it didn't dawn on me. I could have just bought a bag somewhere. I thought perhaps you could only get plaster on a site, that you couldn't buy it in a shop local to me. So I brought it all the way home from Guildford. What a plonker! See, you can be a complete arsehole and still become quite a good plasterer over the years once you get the experience. Ah, dearie me. I don't know if anyone asked me a question. I just went off on one then, didn't I? Oh, that was it. Yeah, I was looking into plastering. But anyway, yeah, that aside, then I got into the college course, and when I remember when I came off of that, I thought I knew it all. I had a big trowel. I bought an old van for about 50, 60 quid. Old escort van, which you could pick up old motors back in the day. And it was just about legal. And my old man was quite good at he was a bit arty, so he painted this kind of plasterer fella on the side, and my name like Devalmancy Plastering. And well, I was away, mate. Just go straight to a lot of work on building sites then. Just go straight to a site. Look at that trowel, mate. I'm obviously a proper plasterer, but you didn't say I'm fresh out of college. Yeah, and they literally give you a job on your word that you said you're a spread. Of course, the next day they might say you've got to let you go. But that's how you learn and slowly get there in the end, which I did. I had all the skill but none of the speed, shall we say, which goes for quite a lot of guys that have come out of college. And you're kind of like, wow, mate, they can do it pucker, you know, do a piece of wall this high, 6 foot, 8 foot iron, 3 foot wide, and it's perfectly flat, perfectly plumb, smooth as a baby's bottom. But it did take 8 hours to do, with lunch breaks and things like that in between. And then yeah, and that was that. 50 quid. What's 50 quid? That's something I said. Yeah. Alright, so any questions I missed out here? That's it. 1 minute you're not typing at all, the next minute you're typing faster than I can read the bleeding things. How did you get plaster? How did you get the plaster? Did you go to college? Oh yeah, I've done that one, right? Plenty of extra time in the mix, yeah, Mike, yep. I'm guilty. I done a hallway ceiling in 40 degrees outside. Problem if I cancelled it, trying to rebook them. But I mean, if you had to do it, Richard, and you managed to do it in that heat, mate, and it turned out all right, then good, you know, good on you. But man, I mean, external rendering when it's hot anyway is risky. I'm assuming you were using proper render, not just I say proper render, not a monocrucial or something, not a silicon thin coat system or something like that. Jamie, got Velcro straps for my stilts. Exciting. You've got them, mate. They've turned up, have they? Or you've got them, but you haven't put them on your stilts yet. Let me know if you haven't, and you've got to. Let me know how you get on with them. I just put some more Joe Blog ones, which are doing the trick, but they are a little bit hard to undo again. I think it's because they're slightly cheaper ones. They were better than the ones I had that were literally breaking and wouldn't grip my foot. And there's one thing, if you're on stilts, you want the straps to grip your feet. Or your ankle, or wherever. Right, if you mix PVA and hydrated lime in with the multi-finish, does it slow down the set? Oh, no idea. PVA, the only time I ever put PVA in a set, it just made it go off even quicker. I think I was mixing some in a... Going back a while, I was mixing some in just a little bucket with a stick, like we used to. And then used to plunge it with a plunger, get the lumps out. I was mixing it with a stick and it was quite creamy. And I thought, oh yeah, someone said about putting PVA into this skin. And this was quite nice at the time, and I poured a bit of PVA in it. And suddenly it was really thickened up, silly, and basically wrecked a bucket of finish. It was just me. But from that point on, I've never mixed PVA into a skim, ever. Well, I did then, and I've never done that since, and that was forever ago. What was 50 quid? Guys, Damien, what was 50 quid? Where's the 50 quid thing come from? For the van. What's for the van? Velcro straps. It's PVA and hydrated lime and the multi-fish, as I was down. Damien, ha ha ha. And Damien, 50 quid, lol. For the van, ha ha. I don't know what you're talking about, mate. Enlighten me. Your van? Whose van? My van? Oh, my van, right. Oh, yeah. Okay, it might have been 75 quid. Okay. But it was... I think when I got it, the head of the engine wasn't on it, but it was with it on the front or on the passenger seat. So my dad, God bless him, back in the day, helped me put the head onto the... Didn't have to think bloody work. Put the head, a gasket in, and put this head on this van. That's probably why it was 50 quid. And although it wasn't fantastic, it did start, and I did use it for quite a few years. And when I met the missus, she said, "Oh, this is the only van I've ever been in that can't do more than 29 miles an hour." And what else was it? Oh yeah, you had to pump. You had to pump the brakes about 3 times. All right, Russ, reliant Robin. You had to pump the brake about 3 times for them to actually work. And I've mentioned on there before, someone tried to nick it once. Oh god, this serves them right. They must have shit themselves. Because I just looked out the window of my mum's flat where I was living, with my mum and dad, and my van was over the opposite square to where I parked it, which was in our square. And I realised when I got there, whoever nicked it had got that far and then thought, bloody hell. It doesn't go over 29 miles an hour, and it doesn't stop when you put your foot on the brake, unless you know the technique. So yeah, I love that motor. When the missus told me to get rid of it in the end, because I don't think it was proper road legal. Dear, but there might have been in the days when dodgy MOTs were much easier to come by. Not that I ever had a dodgy MOT. What do you take me for? Evening, Lindsay Lou. Are you alright, darling? Oh dear. I hope Sarah's alright. I hope you're not working her too hard. Oh dear. So, yeah. No, as I was saying earlier, guys, I forgot. I didn't forget, but it just dawned on me how quickly after Plaster had come around again. And I thought, oh, what another night of me just waffling to the gang. How would it go down? I thought you best to do it, and I'm pleased I have done it. What's the time? Where are we at? It's 8 o'clock. It's 8 o'clock. We've done an hour. We've done an hour, guys, and yeah, I'm a little bit up, but I'm still enjoying myself, and I've still got me pretend beer. But Coca-Cola is a bit more refreshing when it's hot and you're doing this kind of thing. That was my first work van, baby, yeah, and that mum came in, and I didn't really want to take her anywhere in it because I knew how dodgy it was to go along the road in. But yeah, it was it was fun. Evening, Zoltar. What time do you call this, mate? Start at 7. Yeah, dear. We just got in from work. So has everybody else kind of like you've had plenty of time to kind of get in and have a nice shower and have your dinner and then put your feet up for a bit of Master Plasterer chat? Oh dear. Ah, God, I haven't had my glasses on that long. Take them off. Can't see a blooming thing. Oh, that's better. Who cares? Zoltar, tried that blue grit for the first time today. Oh, what did you think, mate? I've only hearing recently you've got to leave it for flipping ages to go off properly, as well as some of the issues people have had going over the top of it. I don't know why are people still using it. We'll skim on it tomorrow. Well, there you go, mate. Yes, I think using blue grit's a little bit like Venetian plastering. You put your blue grit on and then leave it 15 hours before you put a skim on, just in case. But yeah, I think once it's gone off, this is from what I've heard, not from experience, because I've never used it. Once it's properly dry, it's probably quite easy to coat. But I think you have got to put a slightly thicker coat of finish on top of blue grit to make sure you're getting coverage over the top of it. It just seems a little bit excessive to me. Like I've always said, like if neat PVA is not good enough for you, mix some kiln dried sand into it. And if you want it a colour, put some blue food colouring in it, and Bob's your uncle. You've got blue grit, yeah. But you probably couldn't call it that. You'd have to call it blue PVA sand covering. I've got loads to plaster. XRP boss. Is it XRP boss? Is that you've got loads to plaster in a particular house or job, or you mean loads to plaster in as in loads of work coming in at the minute? Some guys are rushed off their feet and some guys are quiet, including myself, which is a phenomenal strangeness sometimes of who's got your phone number. James, I worked with a plasterer last week and he rolled and strolled the whole bedroom, which I thought was an expensive way to protect a room. I usually use polythene, which is good for me. Yeah, mate, I use it. Oh, you know, use the big rolls of plastic. You roll out a length of it, to the width or the length of a room, and then you just cut it off and it unfolds. Covers most rooms. It's about, I think I get it for about 18 quid, and cover quite a lot of jobs with that before I need to buy another roll of it. And tape it up around the edges. Job done. The roll and stroll, if I use it at all, I only use it on stairs really. And it's quite a pain to stick down. I know there is some kind of applicator you can use, I think, when you're doing covering just straight carpets on the floor, but it is expensive to cover whole floors in that stuff, and quite hard to rip up at the end as well if you've done a whole floor in it. I struggle enough getting it back off the stairs without pulling the stairs off the gripper, the carpet. But most times I'll use a stair runner dust sheet with the plastic backing on a staircase if it's carpeted, and just my normal plastic elsewhere. If I happen to have some roll and stroll, then I'll use it on the stairs, but that does take quite a while to stick to the stairs basically. Love and Plaster is minging nice level plasterboards. Oh yeah, nice level plasterboards, mate, any day of the week. Especially if someone else has put them up. Mind you, the chances of them being nice and flat if someone else has put them up is a bit slim, and definitely a bit slim if the customer has put them up. All in line like a row of tiles, with no breaks in the joints, nice big gaps in between and all around the edge. In some places an inch or more around the edge. And I go, well, you're putting up coving there, and they go, oh no, can you fill that? And I think, well, it's just a void I can stick my hand in, mate. So I can't just fill it. I can't put a little thin bit of scrim over it and just hope that does the job. But yeah. But yeah, I know what you mean, mate. Any other love and plaster is an up and down. Mind you, again, if you're doing any overboarding jobs, or even if you're ripping down a ceiling, which let's face it, most people don't anymore, because the mess and the expense is just like, looking like a Coleman at the end of it. It's you can strip them down, and in so many older houses, or sometimes even the newer ones, the joists are so up and down that you're just not getting, when you put the boards up, you're just not getting flat. You're still getting like some dipping or rolling in them. But hey ho, that's like having a room that's square in it when you're doing coving. They more or less don't exist either. Cut a nice square mitre and you're coving and you put it up in the corner, and there's a great big gap in it like that. All part of the fun. I remember ripping down a large ceiling and reboard skim. Never again, so much. Yes, mate. I mean, it used to be the thing. You would rip a ceiling down, and I never used to think twice about it. I think, oh yeah, it needs to be ripped down, and a new one goes up. And you can think, why? And I do explain to people now when I say, oh, well, overboard your old ceiling. I say that is common practice. It's not just me being a cowboy going, oh, I'll tell you what, darling, yeah, you don't really need to pull that down. What we'll do, we'll just stick something over the top of it. You have to explain it is going to be screwed into the ISDF. It's going to be screwed into the through the old ceiling and into the joists above. But it will cost them so much less money, and their whole house won't get covered in black dust, and the plasterer won't get covered in black dust, and the kind of clothes that his missus won't let him walk in the house with, let alone put in the washing machine. So you've got to allow for all new overalls and stuff as well. Hey Pete's been to the Asda. What time is this to go to the Asda? On a Monday, Stephanie. Shame on you. Because even the mice that live in the cupboards had no food. We'll catch up on chat now. Okay, dear. Fair enough. If your mice are going hungry, that's just not on. That's cruelty to animals. There's a lot of people that wouldn't like you for that. So don't want you getting any hate mail. So you had to do Asda. I understand now, dear. I understand. Can't beat tea at your mum's. Silver. Poor old Danny. He's probably still at his mum's. Judy's probably texting him to go, oh yeah, he's asked the plasterer tonight. And I think they might be talking about you. Now poor old Danny, now the whole of the community knows that Danny from Plaster is having tea at his mum's, and that's why he's not here this evening. God bless you, Danny. You give your mum our love. Mark, you end up looking like the Coleman. Oh, you do, mate. I couldn't believe how mucky you got putting those things down. And oftentimes, if you not normally a mirror around when you're doing that, and I suppose really it's the first time you ever do it. And you kind of look at your arms and think, oh, that's a lot of dust there. And the customer looks at you a little bit strangely, and it's only when you see yourself in a mirror, when you get home, and see the state of your face and your hair, that they probably think, my God, look at me, what a mess. So, only in recent years had a customer that wanted to pull the ceiling down, and I said I would help him with it. So at least he was involved, so he knew what it took. Out the mess, and collecting up all the laths afterwards as well, and trying to stick them into bags. All those little nails that are still left in the ceiling, in the joists afterwards. You've got to make sure they're all pulled out. Oh dear, yeah, not good times. Oh, hello, Danny. Back now. She's what? She's a mint. God bless her, mate. If she couldn't make us all the sandwich next time, could she? We could all come around for tea. Spark your phone off, mate. We could do a live session around Danny's mum's. You could do a live stream from your phone, and I could bring you up here as a guest at your mum's house. We could have a chat with your mum as well. Actually, that'd be quite an idea, wouldn't it? Ah, dear. Still coughing now. Yeah. Excuse me. Ooh. Ah. Mm. So, Danny, what have you been up to, mate? Have you been busy? Working hard? Stephanie, our joiner takes ceilings down for us as he loves it. Is he some kind of masochist or something? Got a proper gas mask rig out to and checks the joist while he's there. Bobby Dazzler. Well, Graham, yeah, someone else is going to take them all down. Assuming Steph, he cleans up all the mess and just leaves it spotless, so when you walk in there, it's just ready for boarding. In which case, crack in. You know, as long as he's not charging you too much money or you're not paying him too much. How can you love it though? How can you love ripping down an old ceiling? Danny, Plaster 8. My mum would love that and all, to be fair. What, to be on the box? Oh dear. If you go around there again in a couple of weeks' time, mate, then yeah, do just make sure you got Skype on your phone, mate, and we can get you in here and we can have a chat with your mum. Which yeah, we can ask her all about you. What a lovely little boy you were when you was little, and stuff like that. Steph, yeah, cleans up and we balls. Well, ideal then, ideal Steph, but yeah, but I wouldn't want it. If someone else is going to do it, I'm absolutely fine with that, as long as I ain't got to have nothing to do with the pulling down and tidying up part. Mark, booking the flight to Bristol now, Danny. Oh, what's that? You're not going to Bristol, Mark, are you? To see Danny, yeah? Last week, just as a side note, it's of no real relevance to Ask the Plasterer. When on the last show we had a quick batch of what do you call it, junk mail come up on the screen, you know, offering sexy ladies and all that kind of old rubbish. And in my pause, as in no speaking, to do the old to get rid of him, and it went all quiet. The old beer song in the background. I got a copyright claim on it from the company that owns the rights to the 1973 album of Wurzel Gummidge and his brothers, or whatever it was called. And said, "Oh, you violated the copyright of this song. Does not belong to you." Beer, or better not singing. So yeah, if that bit comes on, guys, just kind of like give me a nudge, because I can't hear it this end because I haven't got the speaker on, and I will talk loudly over it rather than get another copyright claim. Yeah, all the months since this thing's been going on, and I get that on there. I had a nice big juicy steak. I had some steak tonight, mate, on a nice bun and some the old little French fries like you get at Mackie D's, but I cooked them myself, and a nice salad and another Coca-Cola. Yeah, flat out, mate. Gone over to the dark side east. Oh, dark side last couple of weeks, and been doing carpentry. I didn't know you could do carpentry, Danny. When you say carpentry, is that in like carpentry like a carpenter knows carpentry, or is that carpentry like I do carpentry, which is there's wood involved and a saw and some nails and hammer, and that's about it. Or you're quite qualified in that department, mate. In which case, then why the hell are you plastering? Mark, you're more than welcome, mate. Oh, right. Yeah, well, he's coming to Bristol to see you, by the looks of it, mate. Oh, Mark. Don't forget to take all your t-shirts with your Mark, the Ask the Plasterer and your Trout Talk ones. Ah, Have you ever dot and dabbed with expanding foam, please? Yeah, I did buy some. Was that expanding foam? That one? Yeah, it was more of a. It's the one that is designed for sticking boards. So it does swell up, but not as much as just that foam that's for gap filling. That goes silly big, doesn't it? But yeah, no, I've stuck boards with that before, and it does a nice job. To be fair. And the other time I've used that particular type of foam was on a job recently where a lot of places had been dot and dabbed, and quite a few parts had blown where they'd come away from the dabs or the dots. And no, the dabs, isn't it? Yeah. And I just made holes in the bits that moved. I just made some little holes that you could fix the nozzle into, and just pumped that in so and it was going behind it and expanding, and because it's made for sticking the balls as well, it restuck them all. It made them nice and firm, and did a pucker job. Otherwise, in the olden days, I would just have to have pulled them off and basically restuck them. And once you start pulling one off, you start losing the whole blooming lot. And no, it's all turned out as good as gold. That flat, I think that's all decorated and furnished now and done and dusted. So yeah, so I've used it. It's good gear. I don't know if I'd use it all the time. Depends how thick what the brickwork is like that you're fixing to, whether you're just fixing boards up or whether you're fixing boards up with any kind of insulation on the back. No, I'm no carpenter, but can do a bit. Oh, like me, mate. Yeah. I've been doing stud walls and helping build. Oh yeah, stud walls are fun. And dormer window with my dad, thinking of getting into it. Mate, I quite like it. I've got to say, it is. It's nice. The thing I liked is, as a chippy, your van just generally smells of sawdust, which is lovely, and it's quite easy to hoover out and doesn't wreck everything. Whereas plaster dust, on the other hand, mate, gets everywhere, doesn't it? Wrecks your motor, wrecks your clothes, and doesn't smell particularly nice, or not as nice as wood shavings. So yeah, I completely understand that, mate. So it's a fairly cleaner job. Most chippies, you do need to be quite good at the old maths to be a good chippy, I found. That's why I'm not a good chippy. Yeah, they do very well. There's not a lot of chippies that I do know quite a few chippies, and they've all done very well for themselves. I've quickly been promoted into something that's kind of chippy related, but into the hierarchy of it, and yeah, making small fortunes. So, but hey, I'm not bitter. But yeah, carpentry is a good trade to get into. But it's not, the art of being able to turn a bag of powder and some water into the art that us spreads, males and females alike, do to transform people's living accommodation. I mean, they can't have all their walls clad in just wood, can they? And everything wood. It'll be alright for the odd house, or the odd posh house, but people need plasterers, and plastering is an art, and we've got that, guys. We're underappreciated in today's world, but I'm sure that will turn around as soon as we plug ourselves a little bit more than we have been, rather than being like the old MPs and all that rip each other apart to try and get to the top, which doesn't work. It's definitely for after treatment. What was that? What was that an answer to, baby? Yeah. Oh no, I can't move it on there, right? Johnny, hi Eric. I'm thinking of getting a pair of stilts. How long does it take you to get used to them? It don't take long, Johnny, at all. The way the springs they've got in the kind of the bendy parts near the middle that make your foot be able to do that in them. You can adjust those when you buy them, because they're either push the stilt backwards a bit or forwards, and you'll feel when you're adjusting them and you stand on them that if you feel like that you're tipping backwards, you can adjust these spring things. I don't quite know the mathematics of it, and it will kind of adjust the stilt angle so that when you're standing up dead straight in them, your balance feels perfect and comfortable. And initially, although it feels perfect and comfortable, you still don't want to let go of the wall to walk along. But it does not take long to get the hang of it. On the lowest kind of setting, you ideally want the stilts that at their lowest level are the height of a, will get you up to the height of a normal ceiling, but are extendable up to probably twice the height. Well, not quite twice the height, but yeah, they go up a long way. Where you could probably do a 10-foot plus ceiling on the adjustable ones that I've got. If you buy the ones which are easier initially to walk on, or you think they will be because they're a lot shorter, which you can just about reach most ceilings on, but they're not adjustable. And if you get a slightly higher ceiling, you're stuffed, and they're no good because you can't reach. So you want the ones that are already at their lowest setting, high enough for like an 8-foot ceiling that can be adjusted upwards. If you adjust them up and learn to walk on them when they're a little bit too high, which is nerve-wracking, and then you bring them back down to what I call normal, then it's like riding a bike. It's nice and easy. But basically, you get the things on. You normally have to sit on the stairs if you haven't got any steps out or anything when you first put these things on, and sit on your stairs, strap them on, push on the old banister, get yourself up, and just walk around the room. And hold onto the wall or walk across the room. After that, hold onto the ceiling. And once you start getting confident walking around in them, that's when you have to start, getting all control in your hand and getting used to having some weight. And then, as time progresses, you just learn to lean back on the things. It does come fairly quickly, mate. I have to say. You've got to go into it confidently. Make sure there's nothing you can trip on. Don't wear them outside. Wearing stilts or plastering stilts outside is an accident waiting to happen. The slightest indiscrepancy in the ground can take you over. But generally inside you're in an environment where the floor is flat and there's nothing, hopefully, sticking up for you to kick and take it. Up to this point, touch wood, touch some real wood. I haven't come off my stilts and I've had them for that many years. I've had a few like near misses, but I've never gone down, and hopefully I won't. But they're a godsend, mate. Once you've got used to stilts, you never go back. As they say, once you've got used to stilts, you never go back, or something like that. Looking for a stilt, yeah. It don't take that long to get used to them, mate, and it'll be well worth the while. And if you initially think, oh dear, I don't know about this, just persevere, and you'll soon get there. But I'd definitely plug buying. If you're thinking of buying a pair, just do it, mate. Just do it. But obviously, the more expensive they are, they'll last you longer. I've had mine at least 25 years, and I've had some new straps that strap them onto your ankles. But the rubbers and stuff on the bottom of the feet haven't gone. But they were about 400 quid, as opposed to you can get them for 100 quid, couple hundred quid. But I think they will more or less work the same way. Plaster vape, yeah, Danny, yeah, definitely, mate. Can't beat the smell of fresh cut timber. Oh no, it's beautiful smell, yeah, still. I'm just thinking now, plaster doesn't smell nice. Or PVA. Or gone off PVA. God, guys, if you've ever smelled gone off PVA, wow. And I've bought some supposedly fresh stuff before from Wicks, and it's only when you start pouring into a bucket you realise it's a bit older than it should be. It's a bit like rotten egg, but not as nice. Yeah, we're still the elite of the building trade, mate. We absolutely are, mate, 100%. Just be nice to be able to expand my skills. I love learning new things. Yeah, nothing wrong with that, mate. I know you're learning lots of stuff all the time and doing different courses and whatever. And yeah, just progress, mate. Because you get, I don't know. There might still be some ambitious people that are my kind of age, but when you get to that, not really the twilight of your life, but when you get past the halfway stage of life, you start thinking, yeah, that drive to be a great success, let's kind of go. Not for everybody, but probably the majority. You just kind of think, yeah, if I can get through the rest of this, and stay fairly fit and healthy and happy. That's all that matters. You know, I mean, I don't think, although like the spray plastering and Rich's spray coat new course and stuff that he's doing, if you're young enough and you want to get into that kind of thing, then it's absolutely like, you know, what's to stop you? And when you're younger and ambitious, if I'd have been younger and I'd seen that kind of stuff, then I might have toyed with the idea of giving it a go. But at the stage I am at in my life and career, I'm kind of like, yeah, no, you're all right. I'm quite happy to plod on with the old-fashioned way, being an old geezer, and that'll see me out. That'll see me out. Oh, what's that? I got a pair of. What did you say then? Danny, I got a pair of stilts for sale. If anyone, well, yeah, what's the matter with you, Danny? Wants to buy them? Can't get on with them. Rather not risk being off work, being injured. Ah, Danny, mate, you just. There can only be one or two things, mate. Either they're really rubbish stilts, you know, like those wooden ones, that are just two stumps of tree that you strap to your legs with little bits that stick out the side that you with handles that you used as a kid. Or you're just a chicken, mate. They're not that bad. They're so easy to get used to. And the chances of coming off them, mate, you know, are pretty slim, as long as you're sensible. Dead. Where did you do skin paint videos? How did they turn out? Where did you? Oh, well, that video with the old paint on the walls, mate, in the skim. I did that round the customer come friend. Well, he was my friend. The customer come friend's house, and I did tell him that, you know, asked him if he'd mind me experimenting on with something I've never done in my whole life before, and to the best of my knowledge, I don't know anyone else that's ever done it. So, you know, it could go either way. It could be, it could be great. Oh, I could wreck your wall, but the hope was, because it's just water-based poster paints I used to trowel up the wall instead of using mortar, if that is what you're talking about, and you're not happy with it, you can paint over it, and it's gone. Whereas I'm sure that my customer John will soon tell me if he's tried painting over it and it keeps bleeding through. I'm sure he'll let me know, and I think he might have done it already. And I haven't had any calls or emails from him, so I'm assuming it was absolutely fine. But yeah, it was good. It was a good crack. I enjoyed doing it. It turned out better than I thought, and I am going to experiment with trying to do rather than just chucking loads of different colour paints on the skin when I'm troweling it up, to just use a couple of base colours and try and get a marble effect and see how close I can make it look like marble, even though it's not. But yeah. And if you're asking me about something else and I don't understand it still, then sorry, that's not the answer you wanted. Steph, I'm terrified of catching stilts. Oh, in tarpaulin, which is what we use for the floor covering. Yeah, dear, I have to say, Steph, the old sorry, just seen Danny's tree stump thing. The old, yeah, if you're going to have tarpaulin on the floor, stilts ain't a great idea, because basically most stilts have got rubber feet. You know, the front part of the foot's rubber and the heel's rubber, and which is great for gripping most things, but you don't want it to be gripping if you've got little undulations in tarpaulin, and the front of your rubber stilt goes in it, it will catch and be a trip hazard. That's why I use I pull my plastic down tight, well, thick plastic but not tarpaulin thick, and I put it from wall to wall and I tape it up around the edge, and the only time that is slippery is if you get a ridiculous amount of water on the floor. There's a couple of times I've got it a bit wet and one of the stilts has slid a little bit, but that's very rare. But yeah, if you're chucking down dust sheets or tarpaulin, then the stilts will be dangerous. That's probably worth thinking about, yeah, at the end of the day. Oh dear. Various tree stumps, now they're Marshalltown Skywalkers, I believe. I think they are decent. I wouldn't know, as I can't keep myself up on them. Danny, what you need to do, Danny, is a quick video, mate, on your phone and send it to me. WhatsApp it to me or something, mate. I want to see I don't see how you're having a problem. And you might be doing something really silly that, you know, or you might just need to adjust the springs I was saying, whoever I was telling earlier, that the spring adjustment that you've got inside the leg of the stilts gives you, I don't know how it works, mate, don't ask me. It kind of gives some kind of balancing torque to the movement in the stilt, which, so like if you feel like they're trying to push you backwards, you can adjust the springs which pull something forward more, so you don't get that feeling anymore. And if you feel like you're falling forward on them, even when you're not going anywhere, you can adjust the spring the other way and it pushes the stilt back. Again, don't know how it works, mate, but try adjusting them before you just flog them because you think you can't stand on the blooming things. But mostly, yeah, do a little video, mate, and WhatsApp it to me so I can have a look. Yeah, no, you shouldn't be. Once someone's bought a pair of stilts, mate, you shouldn't ever be that bad when you think, oh no, I'll sell them if they're too dodgy. They're such a time saver when you're doing ceilings, especially big ceilings. You don't want to be up and down on op-ups. A lot of the time, the old work tool boots might not be tall enough, depending on how tall you are, or too tall. Yeah, you ain't got to set up anything. No hop-ups, no ladders and planks. It's just set up your board. You put your big bucket on the top of that. Mix it up in a bucket on top of your spot board. That's sorted. Get up on your ladder. Plop your stilts on, mate. Hit that ceiling. Get it all done. Take your stilts off and you're ready to hit the walls. There's no messing about. You're not kicking stuff around or moving it about. You're just getting it on, getting it done, and you're straight onto the walls afterwards. You're not fighting about it. If anything else, there's nothing else in your way apart from the spot board that's in the room. Yeah, have another go, Danny. Send me that video, mate. I'm looking forward to seeing it. And if I don't get it, I'll be messaging you on the old forum. Joe, sorry, Joe. I've got a bit of a gap to the ceiling, about 10mm on a stud wall. What's the best way to fill it, or shall I just scrim over the gap and skim? 10mm gaps. You could probably scrim over a 10mm gap, if I'm honest. It's not the ideal, but it will do the job. I've scrimmed over a 10mm gap before. As long as some of the gear you're putting in is squeezing through the scrim, and then once you're starting to get your first coat and they're starting to pick up, and you're putting your second coat on, run your twitcher across it, should come out fine, mate. It's only if they start getting bigger than 10mm, you might have to put something up there to fill up some of the gap. Could use the expanding foam up there, but be really careful if you're going to start squirting expanding foam up a gap of the ceiling. You don't know what else might be up there that you don't want to really get expanding foam on, or coming through the polished floor in the room above. Tara, I'm on my stilts as we speak. What? How are you watching this, Tara? On your stilts? Are you just sitting on your? You're not just in your front room with some stilts on here? I've been the perfect for a short like me. You can't be that short, Tara. Oh dear. Have you really got them on now? You're just sitting there in the room with a great big long pair of stilts on, watching this on your phone, presumably, and not on the telly box. If you're watching it on the telly box, Tara, then ring me on the phone number and talk to me. Right. I need to. Danny, be handy to learn how to walk on them though, as I've got some big ceilings on this job I'm on now. Well, yeah, that's it, Danny. I'm serious, mate. I want to see a video of you putting the things on and just doing a short walk within the view of your camera. Go with your phone, stick it over on one end, press play on the record on the old video, mate. Get the stilts on and just give me a bit of up and down like that, crossways to the camera, not towards me and away from me, cross like that. And I'll tell you where you're going wrong, or whether you need to adjust the springs. James, do you always plaster your ceilings separately to the walls? I'd imagine using stilts you would need to keep taking them on or off if doing a wall as well. That is very true, James. Normally I'm just doing the ceiling, but sometimes if the ceiling's kind of a so-so size, and instead of mixing up, say, a bag and a half, which would probably do it, I think I'll sod it, mix up 2 bags, and I'll whack the ceiling on, and I think, yeah, there's still quite a bit in there. And especially if I put some extra time in it, and then I know the ceiling's good for a good while before I need to worry about it again. Then I'll whip the stilts off, whack the wall on, give it a quick go over with speed skim. This is first coat, and then again, especially if I've got extra time, sorry, in it, and then I'll pop the stilts back on and do the second coat on the ceiling. I'll probably wind them up actually. On the wall itself, I will reach as far down with the stilts on when I'm putting the first coat on the wall. I won't take them off straight away. Just when I finish the ceiling, I will do the first top half of the wall and then get off the stilts and do the bottom half. But yeah, it's doable. It is a bit on and off when you do a ceiling and a wall. But at least when that set has gone, you've got a ceiling and one wall out the way that that's a wall you ain't got to worry about later on. And if you just got 3 left, you could bash out. And if they're quite small ones, put some half time in and just crack on with those, and then Bob's your uncle, as they say, the old man land. Stephanie, I can't believe you're asking Danny to send you a catwalk video. You need to put an 18 rating on the live streams. Yeah, I only want it all up and down in his stilts, Stephanie. You know, it's not a big deal as long as he's fully dressed. No, then we're good to go. We're good to go. And I swear I would not put it on here unless he asked me to. That's true, Danny, by the way. Top man, mate, be a few weeks before I start plastering it. I think as there's loads to do, I'll definitely do that. Do that as in send me the video, mate. Yeah, yeah. Don't flog your stilts just yet. Don't flog your stilts just yet. And yeah, and get that blooming that whisk out the corner, mate. Get that sorted. I say, trouble until the one you're using now like packs up. You probably think, oh yeah, I will do that with as soon as my whisk is ready for the bin. I'll make sure Eric's is working. What's that, Danny? Sorry, I missed that a bit earlier. No, it's because I put on a load of weight and I'm impersonating Jabba the Hutt at the moment and feel too heavy. Back in training now though, so bring it on down. Yeah, I mean you can still be a big geezer on stilts, mate. Yeah. No, sorry, that's no excuse at all. I'm pleased you're on it now, so sorting that out. Yeah, I solemnly do swear that I will get back to the gym now the weather's cooling down a bit, but not including this weekend coming, and yeah, and get back on the eating sensible diet rather than stuffing my face with whatever I fancy. I'm struggling to finish off and get a smooth surface. Now, can you just run through the method, as I think I've lost my thought process? If we're just talking about skimming, then whack my first coat on. Yeah, let's assume that it's either a plasterboard wall or a wall you've PVA'd, if you're me, with neat PVA and you've left it to dry properly. Mix up, put my first coat on, get it all covered. I'll take a plastic bladed speed scrim, left to right, right to left, up and down, get it basically flat apart from the couple of lines that it leaves in it. And then I'll let that pick up a little bit. I might be putting on a bit more, so it's be picking up anyway. I watered down my mix. It's something I was taught and I've always done my whole career. I've never mixed up a fresh mix to go over first coat in 37 years. But a lot of guys do it that way. But that was the technique you used then, and of course I've never diverted from it because it works and it's quick. Because I haven't got to wait an extra, whatever the extra time is, for a new set to set. I'm just going on the setting time of the first set that I've knocked up to do the whole thing. But yeah, so sorry. So first coat on, plastic speed skim over the top of that. Then second coat on top of that, tighter after I've watered down what's left of my first coat for my tighter, using less but flattening coat is my second coat. I will then go over that with the plastic speed skim and we'll leave it until it's picking up enough water, and that's when I'll give it a fine spray and I will use my metal blade speed skim over that as just like a giant flexi trowel basically, to give it a wet trowel but with that blade. And then after that I will finish off with my ultra flex trowel, just for a bit of a polish. it can be left under just using the metal blade speed skim, but you've got to make sure you've done a nice job of it if you're going to leave that as the finish and not polish it up a little bit with the flexi trowel after. That's the technique that I use basically, mate. So Danny, yeah, the video, mate. As for the whisk, it's worse than we thought was. Flooded with water apparently and rusted on the inside, so it's gonna cost a bit more, but we're gonna get it done. It's getting fixed as we speak. Should be ready this week, hopefully. Right, we're not getting too diddly with it, mate. I mean, if it was still going and you could get some WD-40 in it, that probably would have done the trick. You don't want to end up paying half the amount it costs to buy a new one of those raffiners. But yeah, you've done it now, mate. So yeah, let me know how it is when you get it back, and let me know what the bottom line was as well, just to see if it was worth fixing. I suppose so. If it was nowhere near what it cost to buy a new one, then fair do. Oh, getting rowdy in the old Hawk and Trout, is it, mate? Oh dear. As long as they're not singing the beer song too loudly yet, because if it is, I need to turn it down a little bit so I don't get another copyright claim on it. Hang on, I'm just going to take it down just a fraction, be on the safe side. Oh dear. When you say it's getting rowdy, mate, are they starting to use a few expletives as well? Well, they've noticed that if it runs for long enough, it gets a little bit rude in some of the pub banter in the background. Thanks for that. What about finishing off without the speed skim, as I don't have any? Thanks. In that case, I would use a Marshalltown to put on first coat. You don't play with it too much, but you want to get your first coat as flat as you can, just using your trowel. Again, Marshalltown's like solid trowel as opposed to a flexible one. And when that starts to pick up, then the only way to get some more of the trowel lines out is to then do your second coat, again just with your trowel, and it's the second coat, which is the flattening coat, which will start to take out any trowel lines that you still got in the first coat that you couldn't get rid of because the plaster was too wet. So the second coat is flattening out, again just with your like a Marshalltown solid trowel, not a flexible one. And then if you're just using a solid trowel, then once you've done that second coat, you need to let that pick up a fair amount. You should be able to touch it without it coming off and sticking to your fingers, but it doesn't want to feel so firm that it's gone too much. But once it is starting to go and the plaster's not sticking to your fingers, you can just touch it. Then that's when you can add a little bit of water to it, not too much, and use your trowel to do a first kind of trowel over. If it's too wet and you're putting water on it, it will more or less blister straight away. If it's too dry and you try to do it without any water, it will rip. So it's kind of at that stage where it would rip, possibly without water on it, when you need to get the water on it. That first wet coat, and then you just let that go a bit more, and then you just trowel it up a little bit more after that with a little bit more water. Go around your edges with a water brush, and yeah, and then you can get, once it's been properly gone, you can give it a hard trowel again, just with your solid Marshalltown trowel. Or at that stage, if you've got a flexible trowel, you can take your flexible trowel over it, just for finishing off, giving it a bit of a polish. And that's if you haven't got speed skim. But there's speed skim, especially the plastic bladed one, which don't ever use a metal bladed speed skim over a really wet plaster, because that will really give you blister issues because it draws the water to the surface. The plastic one, like a plastic trowel, it doesn't. It opens up the surface of the plaster and helps it to dry out more quickly. Right, hang on. Actually, I don't want to miss anybody. That's the one they're singing. Oh, right, Mark. Yeah, that's the one I needed to make sure I don't get them clobbered for again. Doesn't cost anything, but they sort of say, "Oh, if you're hoping to make any money out of this video," which is highly unlikely, it will go to whoever's got a copyright claim on that bit of music, unless you take that bit of music out. But let's take that bit. If I take that bit of music out, I'll take all the all the talk off of it as well. It's only for about a minute, so it wouldn't be the end of the world. But for one video, I can't be bothered. If it happens again on any of it, I'll have to sort something out. I'll just cut the song out of that loop. Richard, pub full of plasterers would be a dusty one. Hope someone gets Rolling Stroll out. Yeah, I'll tell you what, mate, a lot of the pubs where we used to go when I was working on sites and stuff, because they knew like plasterers and tradesmen would be coming into the pubs at lunchtime for a pint. It would be kind of like no work boots, no overalls. You literally had to, if you wanted to go to the pub, you had to make sure you had some kind of change of clothes, otherwise they wouldn't let you in. And that would probably be the case here at the Hawk and Trowel, but all of us were such clean, tidy plasterers that never get any dust and mess on us. As you can see, looking at the ladies, still their sweatshirts and t-shirts are still pristine, as is mine, even though this isn't me ask the plasterer one. So not a problem in this pub. All are welcome in your work overalls, no problem whatsoever. Load of white footprints. Yeah, I think that was the main thing. You walk into a pub, a big trail of white footprints behind you, and you got great big boots on with plaster stuck to them. Oh great, did you use a float after the first coat? When you say a float, are you talking about sponging? Oh. Or are you talking about just a plastic float? Because back in the day we did used to, if you wanted to talk about doing skimming properly, we had to put if you're going by the book, I never did it on site but I was taught it, you put your first coat on with a Marshalltown trowel, and then you put a second coat on using a wooden or plastic, but normally wooden float, like a rubbing up float. There was a nice square edge on it because it had no flexibility in it whatsoever, so you knew you were putting on the plaster as flat as you possibly could with that. And then when that picked up, you'd go over it again with a metal trowel. But other than that, if you're talking sponge floats, I never use a sponge float. So I have heard if you get caught on some plaster and it's going off a bit rapid, you might be able to save yourself by chucking some water on it and using the sponge float. But yeah, something I try to avoid if I can. If I remember, you said something ago that when you first started you used to float up after the first coat with a wooden or plastic float. Yeah, sorry mate, yeah, that's basically what I used to do. I don't do that now. Literally everything is just with the metal float. I don't use the plastic or and we're talking floats now, not trowels. I don't use a plastic or wooden float on any of the coats. So it was the thing I was taught. But as soon as you get on the site, or back in the day anyway, all the site foremen were interested in is you do a job that passes. It needs to be flat and it needs to be smooth. And they don't care how you got it flat and smooth. If you as a one coat merchant and you got it on there nice and thick, you managed to get it nice and flat, and it was flat and it was smooth, you got paid. They didn't want you to go by the book, because going by the book took longer. So it was as long as it was deemed passable, and within whatever the tolerance was for plaster to be, then it was fine. They didn't care whether you used a short float, a long float, or trowel, as long as it was a passable job at the end of the day. So after I left college, I never used a plastic float or wooden float for laying on a skim, because it was just another process. Probably another reason also why you wouldn't put a first coat on when you was working on site, and then when that was picking up, knock up a fresh one for the second coat, because you were adding how long it was going to take for that set to finish, because you were mixing up fresh, and it would then only go off to the set of the fresh lot, not the old set time, which is a couple of hours in total, I suppose, from mixed up to finished. Danny, Eric, I'd love to see a video of the process you did when you were taught the plastic float. I have said that I'll do that, haven't I? And just haven't. So I will. I mean, to do it properly, probably if you can still get a wooden float, I might get a wooden float because they're more rigid, even than those polyurethane things that you get now. But if not, I will buy myself a new plastic one because the newer they are, the better because they're nice and flat and they're nice and square. And you want that flat square edge on a new float to be laying on finish with it. You don't want a worn-in rubbing up float to do that. So I'll do it, mate. I'll do it. Yep. At least it's another idea for a video that's hasn't got to be completely different, but it shows you something that is different or hasn't been shown on other videos before. So I like any ideas like that are straightforward and fairly simple to do. Like without having to ask your customer if you can squirt paint all over the wall when you're troweling it up. Right, cool. Cheers, guys. Cheers for that. How are we doing for time? Oh, flipping out. Well over. I've been just enjoying the sound of my own voice too much. 8:51. We're meant to finish about 8:30. Danny, is it a cross-grain wooden? Yes, mate. Cross-grain wooden float used for skimming like a yellow pint. Yes, mate. That's it. That's it. A cross-grain wooden float. I don't know if you can still get them or not, mate. But yeah, as soon as you said that cross-grain thing, it came shooting back to memory. So yes, mate, it was one of them. So you laid on with a metal trowel, then the cross-grain wooden float, and then the metal trowel again. But that was going by the book, as was the book back in 1984. Wow, 1984. How long ago was that? Oh, Bobby. Too long. It don't seem like yesterday. Any slightly younger people out there, getting old comes really quickly and suddenly. Or older. Just letting you know. So like, make sure you get out there and enjoy yourself. And do as many things as you possibly can that you want to. Because when you're younger, life feels like it's going on forever. And then suddenly you're 60. And you go, oh shit. I haven't got that long left again before I'm no longer here. Eric has left the planet. But not just yet. Which is the whole reason for trying to stay injury free and as healthy as possible. Which is why I need to get back to the gym and stop eating too many buns. Danny, I read that in the Plastering Bible somewhere, I think. Oh, definitely, mate. The Marshalltown still do them. Okay, cheers, Mark. Mind you saying that, Mark, they probably still do them in Ireland, probably don't do them over here. It's like I'd love to have a bit of grey highlight plaster, but it just seems to be multi-finish or nothing here now, unless you go to, well, I don't know. I haven't done extensive inquiries into it because it's not been a major issue. But yeah, a bag of just grey highlight plaster would be lovely. If ever you ever fancy sticking a bag on your shoulder, mate, and next time you travel down this way, bring it with you. We'll go for a pint and I'll stick it in the boot of my car, and I'll have a go at that on my next job. Oh dear. Can we give you a deadline and a wooden float on the wooden float video? Okay, look, I will definitely do the wooden float video. Okay, I haven't, apart from that one with the paint recently, I haven't been putting out videos because there's so much bloody work. And all my pals and my chums do such a fantastic job with their videos. Not that that's much good for my channel, but that's not the point. Can I give you a deadline for the wooden float? Yeah. So 2 weeks. Yeah. Okay. I will pick one of the walls that I'll do on my next job. I'll get myself a wooden float, and I should be able to get one fairly quick the way deliveries are nowadays. And I will do that. And yeah, I'm gonna see how that goes. And I won't use a speed skim on it at all. I'll just use the trowels, wooden float, and yeah, just the solid trowels. We won't use any flexes on it either. So I'm gonna see how that goes. And yeah. And in the meantime, you can give me a really good idea of what to call it as well. So people go, oh, well, what's that? I mean, people do watch my videos. It's just me making them. That's the issue. But I shall, guys. I shall. It's nice to feel wanted. Cheers, mate. Right, I'm going to love you all and leave you because it's getting late and the missus said, I thought it was only going to be a couple of hours. So, it's been really great. Thanks for coming along, guys and girls. Loads of messages tonight, which is fantastic. And getting the plunger out, Eric. Yeah, but I'd have to make a plunger, mate. Old-fashioned clothes. I think my workwear hasn't changed much since then. And when I did start out, I did have proper white bib and braces. But the straps that go over your shoulders, they always like keep falling off. Or if you did, that was more of a painter's one. But if you wore the all overalls, they were kind of like just white. Which is, but you don't want to look too much like a proper tradesman. No, that's the thing. So, yeah, perhaps I'll get some. Perhaps I'll get some white overalls as well. We'll see. I do what I can. Getting hold of a plunger is more difficult nowadays, and whether I can make the time to make one, I don't know if I could be bothered. But let's just stick to the old electric whisk. I will use a wooden float. Cross grain wooden float, and just a solid Marshall towel trowel. No speed skims and no flexies. A great old floater. Thanks, mate. I'll put that on my gravestone. Right, I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. Mark, Richard, Danny, Mark, and everyone else that knows me. Thanks for coming along again tonight, guys. We are right overrun, which doesn't really matter in the scheme of things. This will go out in the next couple of days as a as a what is it? As a podcast on Ask the Plasterer podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. Just put in Ask the Plasterer, and all the Ask the Plasterers that I've turned into podcasts will come up, and you can listen to those without having to have the video playing. Though if you look on Spotify, it plays the video as well as the podcast, which is okay, I suppose. Yeah, got there in the end. Always a pleasure, mate. Yeah, lovely. Mark, cheers, Mike, cheers, Steph. Thanks, my dear. And yeah, I'll see you all soon. I'm just gonna find my old. Find my old off button as usual. On that one. Fadey out thing. Remember to turn my mic off. They don't hear me waffling once I've gone, or not properly gone. Dear. Right. Yeah. Thanks again, everybody. I hope I haven't missed any questions right at the end, just before I cut everybody off. Right. Yeah. If you want to talk to me any other time during the week, I will be with the other guys on my Discord forum. Community, and if you don't know how to get on that yet, I'll give up. And yeah, I will see you all soon. Thanks for coming along again, guys. I mean, not too hard. Don't work too hard tomorrow, and yeah, I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.